We're going to watch a little short video and then we're going to invite Nicola up and to tell us a little bit about her story. So check this out.
Oh, she's got it! It just got better.
The first Australian woman to clear 2 metres.
28-year-old Nicola Olyslagers from Australia.
Setting a new national record in the high jump.
Proving that hard work and perseverance can lead to incredible achievements. Olyslagers is not just a medal favourite. Her ability to handle the pressure with such grace and confidence is truly impressive, never wavering in her pursuit of success.
My sports really taught me a lot about my beliefs and partnering belief to those actions or to those words.
People call me quite colourful because I wear my heart on my sleeve, so I love high jumping and I hope it sort of exudes out of me when I'm screaming or when I'm running towards the bar.
My heart is that people will encounter the love of God through the way that I've been able to love them.
Power of community, right, as well, drawing the gold out of you, but then you being able to deposit what God's placed in you into other people.
So my name is Nicola Olyslagers.
I am an Australian high jumper.
The things and the limits that I've set for myself, just have to throw them out the window because we're going on to new heights and we're going further and higher than ever before.
Oh, she's got it!
Fantastic. All right, Melbourne Sunny Coast, why don't you stand to your feet as we welcome to our stage Nicola Olyslagers, Olympian champion, world champion. Let's go. Come on up, Nicola. Nice to have you here. Thank you. You can go on this side there. I'll jump over here. All right, you can grab your seats now, and in Melbourne, you can grab your seats. Nicola, we've got you here with I think you're still newlyweds, you and Reese. How long have you been married?
Yeah, just...
You're good, it'll come.
4 years.
4 years, fantastic. And you told me earlier you went to youth group together back in the day.
Yes, in 2013 we met at youth group, but I mean, there's always a story in between, and we got married in 2021.
Okay, well, we don't probably have the full time for that story today, but it's nice to have you with us, Reese, as well. And both of you are ministry people as well as you're an Olympian, and we're going to talk a little bit about all of your story. But it's a great privilege to have you here with us. We tried to get you last year, but then you ended up going to Monaco to win the world's most famous or world's best female athlete in the world athletics in Monaco. So congratulations on that, in just addition to everything else.
Oh, thank you so much,
That's
John.
really cool. I'm going to just read out some of your athletic accomplishments because they're very significant. We're going to have a bit of just talk a little bit about your life, maybe some keys to success both in athletics that flow into the rest of life, and also a little bit more about your faith and how that interplays, because you're world-renowned for your faith. So, first of all, you won a bronze in the Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast in 2018. Silver, you know this, I'm just telling you guys. Okay, Nicola won a silver at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. She won bronze at the World Athletics Championship in Budapest in 2023. Then your first international gold in the World Athletics Indoor Championships at Glasgow. Got a little footage of that later. Then another silver at the Olympic Games in Paris 2024. And then in 2025, another gold at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. And then this year already, World Athletics Indoor Champion 2026. And, if I'm getting this right, have won 7 in a row national championships for Australia, which you just did recently in the last 2 weeks. Have I got it right?
Almost, but pretty much.
Almost.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, chat. Okay, what did I miss? Is there more?
I won the world champs last year and I came second this year.
Okay,
indoors.
there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Is there, of all of those, is there one that's your favorite? Or is that like asking, do you have a favorite child? Is there one of those that's your favorite?
I suppose maybe one of the most significant for me was the first Olympic medal in Tokyo 2021. Yes. Just because no one expected it. And I think that's where it became, it was really shoved into the global platform, right. And then everything changed from that one.
That's amazing. And that was like a delayed COVID one, masks and stands were empty. It was a bit weird, but you dominated, right?
Well, I mean, if it was actually not postponed in 2020, I wouldn't have been ready.
Really?
And so you look at things and you go, oh, like, what a shame it was postponed. But actually, like, it all worked out for the best.
There we go. That's for the Melbourne guys especially, because we mentioned COVID. Sorry, guys. So all things have worked together for good. So we love that. We love that. We love that. What about just traveling around the world? Favorite country to visit? Where do you love to go?
Yeah, I think if anyone's ever been to the Czech Republic, it's a city in Europe that's still just really special. I've done a few competitions there, but yeah, it just feels like you're living hundreds of years ago being there. So I really love that.
So good, so good. Okay, most people will ask you this, but when did you realize you wanted to be a high jumper?
Yeah, so when I was 8 years old. So it was quite young. I was tall for my age, and so I was uncoordinated in everything, every sport, like no good at swimming, like couldn't catch a ball, couldn't hit a ball, like nothing like that. But high jump, all you had to do was basically fall over this bar and you're already winning. So, and so that's sort of what began my journey. And then, yeah, Ori was having big dreams from when I was 8.
From 8 years old. So did you do the whole little athletics thing?
Yeah, I was actually at Little Athletics, and
That's
so
when you did it.
I don't know if you have anyone that you know that does Little Athletics, but I started doing it from being at a school and doing at athletics carnival. Then I started at Little Athletics, and when I was there, I remember one of my first time doing high jump, and I said, "What's the highest height that an Australian woman has ever done?" And that was at 8, and they said, 1.98 meters was the Australian record. And I said, I want to be the first woman to jump 2 meters.
Wow,
so
at 8 years old.
8 years old.
How
yeah.
cool is that? That was in you. Did I hear, I've watched a bit of footage of you, that you wrote a poem about going to the Olympics.
Yeah, at that straight away. I mean, I found it was fun. Like, you know, you were learning how to do poems in like year 2 or something. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to write about. So it was a childhood dream straight away.
Wow, I love that. And they all rhymed beautifully, which is my favorite types of poem. I heard it, so something about my dream, be part of the Aussie team. It's just amazing. So, okay, so you're renowned, and we saw a little bit of footage in the intro, and you're renowned as doing some journaling in between each of your jumps. Have you always been a journaler?
Yes and no. I started like keeping a journal because when we were in, I don't know, around 16 or 17, we got given the opportunity to go to the Australian Institute of Sport, and we were taught certain practices of what makes what makes an Olympic athlete and things, and they encouraged us to start doing journals of our training. And so that's sort of where I began, but it was always in and out. It wasn't actually until I think when I was around 19 or 20 and I'd start taking a book to church, because if somebody was doing a sermon, I'd be writing down notes. So that's sort of actually, it became more in church and then leaked into sport and life. And now I have my husband, Reese, he complains I have too many journals. Like I just have like our bedside tables are always just filled with them now.
That's awesome. So would you be a daily journaler?
Yeah, daily journaler.
So just for people who maybe aren't, what do you find is the benefit of being a journaler?
Well, I love the ability to process things. So if you have some thoughts in your mind, and of course you can just word dump it onto like your best friend, but they don't always pick up, right? But I find that I can clearly communicate what I'm experiencing and also the story of what's happening in my life through it. So as a personal journaler, that's what I like, but also from sport, you learn so much every single day. And so if you have an open page before you, you can think, what am I feeling it with what I'm learning today? Because it's always something to learn.
Very, very good. Okay, so in between each jumps at a competition, you're writing things down. And tell us a little bit what's going on there. Yeah,
so I started that in 2019. I'm just known around the world as the girl with the book, because after I jump, I run and I write things down. And we started doing that of what works in my training and what doesn't work, or in that jump, what did I do well and what I didn't do well. because it really helps me focus then of, well, what do you need to do to get over the next height?
Right.
Because if you had a good jump and you get feedback and my coach is like, yeah, I'm like, well, that's not helping me jump, but if I can, then my next thing is, well, I can't draw a thumbs up in my book, like, what do you want me to do? And so that's actually helped us both communicate is, well, I need to write this down.
That's awesome. How many, like just in terms of jumping, how many do you get and how many do you miss? Like if you're reflecting on, hey, I got over that time, but I missed this time, what would be the ratio?
The older I'm getting, the less I'm missing, thankfully.
That's good.
But so usually it's around 6 to 10 jumps in a competition I'll get.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
How many competitions per year?
Around 10.
Around 10.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So there's a lot of behind the scenes training for those 10 moments of those 6 to 9 jumps, right? Ultimately,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that people don't see
Yeah.
in terms of your training. So, in a minute, we're going to jump to your faith and how that interplays. But I'd love to help or get you to help us, because whether it's in athletics, and we've got sports people here, whether it's business, whether it's uni, whether it's family life, whatever it is, there's some principles that help us be successful. What would things like discipline, hard work, resilience, just give us an insight into your training. What does that look like, and how do you keep the energy to stay focused?
I think if you're setting aside a big goal, it needs time.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who wants to rush something will miss corners, will cut things out. But if you really want to create a lasting legacy of something that is significant, it's costly and it's timely.
Right.
That's something that needs to be calculated in. And I tell kids this, like, if you have a big dream, give yourself at least 10 years to reach for it.
Love that.
And
Love
that's
that.
something that we're in a society now that you want things now.
Yes. Yes.
And actually you wanted things 10 minutes ago,
Yes.
and so we're racing against the clock, but actually good things take time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you create in that sense of, if I'm going for the long run and I want to do 10 years, then you reflect on who you're doing it with.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have a team that believes in the vision and the goal and the purpose that you have.
Yep.
If you've got people in your team that aren't willing to stay more than 1 year, you have to consider, even if they might feel like the best option, it's not worth that.
Right.
You want to have the person that believes with you and might not have all the qualifications, but
Yes.
will show up every day.
Right.
And that's like my team. Nobody was like an internationally renowned coach or high jump mastermind or whatever.
Right.
They just saw what I had and went, I don't know what this is, but we're going to figure it out together, and I believe that you're going to be one of the best in the world.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
the people that you want to surround yourself with.
That's awesome.
Even and if you don't have a community like that, build it.
Right.
Because you actually have that authority. If you've gotten a gift and you believe that it's a gift from God,
Yes.
then He will actually provide the right people and the right timing. And it's not going to look like anyone else's story. It's not going to look like, it's not going to be given to you. Sometimes you actually have to mold it and build that path so that other people will be coming on after you and will see what's possible, and it will be a testimony.
So good. I love that. I love that. Really, really good. Clear goals, great team, long-term approach. I've read and heard that you love to visualize things, and you're obviously goals focused from that point of view. Help us into the mental side of preparation for the big moments.
Yeah, well, I mean, visualize, it's more like, I just picture myself, if I'm, let's say, at an Olympic Games, we have Brisbane 2032,
Let's go.
close to
Let's
home
go.
for you guys.
Perfect.
And it's in 6 years' time, and you can be having thoughts right now of, well, what am I doing right now that's going to help me in 6 years' time?
Awesome.
And you can be thinking about that, which actually helps you. So let's say in 3 months before an Olympic Games, I'm praying about, well, what would I be saying to Channel 7 who's doing it, or Channel 9? What would I be saying? What would I be doing when I'm walking in to that stadium? Where would I be is it worthwhile staying in the Olympic Village? Like, is it worthwhile staying at an Airbnb close by? You're already researching these things and you're taking on a lot of mental energy so that when you go into that place, you actually have a lot more given to, like you have a lot more capacity to deal with how intense it is.
Wow.
And it's the same within the jumps. Like when I'm at training, I might be jumping in the same stadium that I've jumped in for 20 years. You know, it's all, but in my head, I'm like, well, what if this is the Olympic final right now? What would I be doing? How would I be carrying myself? You know, what would I be trying to work on? And even though my body's tired, and especially with the training load, not often are you in your very best shape. You might only get 1 or 2 times a year to get into the very, very best shape. The rest of it, you're just tired. So I have to actually picture, what would I be like when I'm in my best shape? How would I be moving? And even if I can't feel it, it actually requires faith to then partner with it and be like, well, I will be moving at this speed. So I'm actually preparing myself as if I'm in the best shape ever, as if I'm the healthiest, as if I'm full of passion and I've got these technical things down packed, so that when I'm at an Olympics or when I'm at there, I've already prepared for this. I'm not trying to do a bit of groundwork to figure it all out. My mind was already steadfast throughout it all.
So good. I love that. I mean, even as you describe that, your training, sometimes I'm imagining there's not many people at your training. It's not a stadium filled with people cheering. It's just you and your coach or other people around. I mean, do you have days where you're like, yeah, I don't want to do this today?
Yeah, like, we were having a conversation this morning about that. There's days where you have to go back to your why. Like, why are you doing it? If it's for yourself, well, I would have given up years ago. So you have to then partner with the purpose of why you're there. And that can really, that can draw you to do things that you could never do in your own strength.
Really good.
Right?
Really
like, I know, like, even if, let's say, it's pouring down rain and you're meant to be doing a beach session and the wind is cutting into you like knives, you know, it's winter, it's freezing, but you're there and you realize, like, actually, even if I have no motivation and I don't feel like doing it and inside is warm and dry, well, actually, I know that every bit of my labor, there's purpose for it.
Really good.
And even if I can't get anything out of it that I can tangibly see, I can truly say that when I come to a point like an Olympics, that I left nothing undone.
Really good.
And it's actually like, this is a gift that I actually get to give back to God that I didn't hold back on.
So good.
And if it cost me, that actually brings me great reward in those moments.
So good. How good is that? Come on, put your hands together. I love that. Has there ever been, give us an insight into one of your toughest setbacks? Because resilience is a big deal for all generations, particularly modern generation, like you're saying, where we think we want success 10 minutes ago, but it takes time and there'll be setbacks. What would be one of the toughest things you've had to face?
Yeah, I think, like, for me, when I was 19 and just turning 20, I had a whole life plan for myself. So when I was 8 years old, like I said, I was jumping and I was all excited, and then I went home and I scrapbooked and I did a dream about being an Olympian and the whole thing. But, and so I started, like, creating a life plan for myself. That plan was all lined up that I would be an Olympian, I'd be living in Europe, I'd have a high jumper who was a partner or like a husband, would have a high jump family. Like, I planned it all out. Like, right?
Can you race high jump, just by the way?
No, that's all right.
Good to know, just to get the clarity. That's great.
That's all right. God's redeeming. It's good. It was amazing because at 18, 19, here I was living in Europe and prepared to move over. I had the best of the best, like best facilities. The partner I had at the time was like this amazing high jump prodigy. Everything my 8-year-old self that could have dreamed of would have just been like, you've made it.
Wow.
Like, you know, you've done it and stuff. But yet it was so empty. And because I thought of once I was on that track, or I was in a certain place, or I had a certain person, then everything else was going to just make sense. It was going to be easy.
Right.
But yet there was still such an emptiness.
Wow.
And I wouldn't say it was much of a setback, but it was the breaking point for me, because I realized I had calculated all of these things in my life to finally find satisfaction, but it was in the wrong things, and it was empty.
There you go.
And I had to face of what have I been building my life and my hope, and that was the thing that was getting me as a teenager through, like, you know, doing school and training every day and like pushing myself was that was my reason why. And I found that my reason why was empty.
Wow.
And at 19, 20, I realized I actually needed God.
Yeah, wow.
And I invited God into my life, and then my life started falling apart. Like, right? Like, you know, the relationship started falling apart. My body started falling apart because I was trying to add God in as like a side addition, sort of like the cherry on top, to a life that was all about me.
Wow. Wow.
And when I started putting something that was so weighty on something that was so fragile, it started breaking.
Amazing.
And
Had you grown up in a Christian home just before?
I grew up in a Catholic home, and I went to a Christian primary school, high school. So I encountered God, and it was amazing, but it was always just shallow.
Right.
Like, you know, I accepted Jesus,
Yep.
but he was always underneath my goals in my life.
It's like
plan.
an add-on.
He was
It's
an
like,
add-on.
This is my goal, but you're an add-on.
He was like the garlic bread on the side of like my main thing, right? Like,
the garlic bread's good, but not the main course, right?
Yeah, but he, like the bread of life, right? Like he's like
Nice work.
he's great. But I realized in those setbacks and that struggle, that when I was trying to add him in, I still just wanted to add him in for my own purpose and my own good.
Right.
And when I came to that breaking point of when I can't do this anymore, I can't do sport anymore, I can't do life anymore, I can't do this relationship anymore, I can't be overseas anymore. And I just said, God, you need to help me. Like, I'm going to leave my whole purpose of why I've been created behind to seek you. Like, you need to show yourself, like, is it worth it? And then he did come into my life. And I came to the point where I was ready to give up sport, ready to give up everything that I'd ever known that was sustaining me. And in the hardest part, I would say one of the hardest parts of my life, I found the deepest joy.
Wow.
And I found a purpose that was bigger than me.
Wow.
And in that would have been a minor setback, and people, like, they do the plans. But actually that was the start, the beginning of a life that was truly worth living.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Did you, and I've heard, but just talk about in that moment of basically going, okay, God, I'm really turning to you. I'm going to make you the Lord. I'll live for your glory. I'll live for your purpose. Did you lay down being an athlete? Was there a moment that you said, okay, I'm prepared to not do this?
Yeah, well, I only wanted to be an athlete if I was the best at that stage, right? Like, and the reason why I had done my whole life plan was I had researched and I'd believed that in order to be the best, you needed to be training with the best, you needed to be living with the best, and that was just the normal pathway. Like, that's just what you do. So when I laid down the pathway, I was laying down the dream, and I was actually laying down athletics and sport itself. Like, so that was why it was so hard for me, because I really laid down sport.
Right.
So this was 9 years ago, and I remember just going, like, okay, God, like, whatever you want to do with me. Like, I completely detached dreams, visions, gift, everything from it. And it was like, you know, when you turn on the computer on and off again, like, it was a full reboot system, but I'd changed, and I no longer wanted to be in the sport for what I could get out of it.
Right.
I could be in a place where I believe God had called me to for him and through him.
Wow.
And so I disassociated these big dreams and stuff that was only limited to my motivation. I had a motivation now that was bigger than that.
Wow. Okay, so what year? This is 9 years ago. Let's do the maths. 2015, 16, something like that?
2017.
There it is. My maths isn't that great, so thanks for helping. So 2017, you essentially go, I'm putting God first. If that means I step away from all of this, I'm stepping away from all of this. You're describing that actually gave you great joy. There was joy in that moment of surrender.
Yeah, it was so much joy because when I used to look at a high jump bar before that moment, it was the measure of my value and my self-worth.
Right.
So if the bar was 1.80 meters, I would compare myself to where everyone else was jumping in the world, and if whoever had the first, like the top, let's say 2 meters was the big goal,
Yes.
I was still 20 centimeters away from having a good self-worth, right? Like it was always a measure.
Wow.
And it was always measured on if you won a competition or if you were in a team and stuff, then you were worth so much. And that actually brought so much fear because when I would look at a bar, I was so afraid of being ashamed and guilty.
Yeah, wow.
My performances were linked into what I thought of myself.
Wow.
And actually, and maybe even a deeper and a darker sense, that because I had a shallow relationship with God, if I jumped a certain height, God was happy with me.
Hey, okay.
And if I didn't jump a height, he was angry or punishing me.
Wow.
That was how surface I was. And because of that, high jump, when I would look at the bar, it would be terrifying because people would be around watching me, and I felt like I had something to prove, and all of my hard effort and all about me, like how can I do this and stuff. It was like devastating when you would miss the bar, and if you made the bar, it was relief, but there was no true joy.
Yeah, wow.
And the comparison to that to versus when I'd given all to God, I remember looking at a bar and I'd actually start laughing at like the thing that used to hold me down and measure my worth no longer had a hold on me.
Wow.
Because if I made that bar, I can't add to the gift of an immeasurable self-worth because God had given me his worth. He laid his life down for me when I had never jumped a single bar in my life.
Right.
And if I miss the bar, I can never lose that gift.
So good.
So because of that, it became like something fun to do, something fun to work, because I wasn't associated with it anymore.
I love that.
And it was a gift that I would see something, and especially like the higher the bar goes, sometimes you get to a point where you go, oh, that's actually really high. Like, you don't just have that moment where you're like, oh man.
Oh.
And it would pull something out of me where I went, God, can you give me the faith to believe that I don't see how high that bar is, I see how big you are and how powerful you are, that you live inside of me.
So good.
And I get to trust you and jump for you. And if I make this bar, I get to do it all again. And if I don't get this, then I still had the opportunity to face my fears.
Wow.
And that love and that joy would just fill me to the point where I still look like a crazy woman when I jump.
So
Because
good.
if you watch a competition, everyone else is like, focus. And I'm just like, worship with me, crowd.
Right.
You know, like, and I'm just and I'm having fun because I no longer am held down by it.
That's awesome. I love that. Come on, put your hands together. In fact, we've got a little clip right now from the Glasgow Indoor Championships. Just because I love this, you get the crowd clapping. You can see that joy that you've just described. So let's just watch this. It's about a 30-second clip. Let's just watch this. You're worshiping.
The roof would come off this place if Olyslagers clears. Third and final attempt. It's this to put herself in the shake-up for a gold, and she's done it! Can you believe it? The #1 Olympic sport delivering top-quality drama on a fabulous Friday night in Glasgow. That might be the leap that secures gold.
There it is. That was the leap that secured gold, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What an insight into your mindset of what's going on at that particular moment. You can see it. I think you did get that first 2 meters that you set your goal for, but you'd done the complete switch, doing it God's ways, at the Olympic Games, which is crazy, right? So I read that there's only a handful of women who have jumped 2 meters at the Olympic Games, and you did it at your first one, under pressure. Take us back again to that moment of what God was doing in your heart.
Yeah, like so with the Olympic Games, I went into it, and I jumped 2 meters that year, but I was ranked like in the world maybe like 7th or something. I mean, 7's a good number, but like it was, no one was expecting me to perform because the Olympics is so much pressure. Like it's more pressure than people, the whole world is watching. And because of that pressure, if you have any gaps or things like that I was talking about, if you had that one session that you slept in, that's going to be in your head, right? Like there's so much pressure. And so being in there and all these expectations, because people had built their life upon, if I become a champion in this, I truly am a champion. I had a completely different mindset because Christ was my champion.
Right.
Like he's already done it. And so I walked in there, I was having a great time. I'm just there, I could like enjoy. Everyone else is stressed out, like trying to measure out their run up. I'm looking there going, I wonder how many people that I could pray for in this moment. Like, you know, like I'm being in a situation where I could actually, it felt like my living room. And I say that, even the world stage feels like my living room because I dreamed about it so much. But I also had such a hunger to use that platform to share the story that I've been sharing with you this morning.
Yes.
And because of that, there's like this knife edge of so much boldness and so much passion, and at the other side, so much peace. And being in one of the most pressure point moments and yet feeling an ocean of peace, but at the same time, such a motivation and passion. I went into there and I knew that it was going to be hard work. Right. My competitors, they're some of the best competitors in the world. Like, I mean, the girl that came third that day, she's ended up breaking the world record. The girl that came first at that Olympics, she'd won 3 consecutive world championships. Like, just like crazy, amazing competitors. And yet I couldn't be fearful about comparing myself to them because I actually had nothing to lose and nothing to gain from that. Like, I could go in there just doing the craft that I loved, and it was all worship. And I say that because when I jump, you don't want to see me up on the worship team singing, but when I jump, my feet are the things that God has given me that I can worship Him with, right? Amazing. And every height that I had such a focus to just stay down and do what I was doing, knowing that every single thing that I was putting my hand to, He would help me with. And I jumped 2 meters at the first attempt, which put me in the gold medal position. Amazing. Everyone, and it was funny because like nobody really cared about watching high jump. Like, I don't want to say like they don't care, but at that time it wasn't a big thing, but it was lockdown and COVID, especially our Melbourne people watching. You know, it was lockdown and COVID on a Saturday night at 8 p.m. What else are you going to do but watch the Olympics, right? And at that time there was, the men's basketball was in the bronze medal match. And so everyone was tuning in for that because everyone loved to watch basketball. It's like, yeah, sure. But they started interrupting the footage with me going for the gold medal to the point that the basketball game went, and they went straight to me. So all of these Australians are watching this girl they've never heard before, and I'm in the gold medal position. And it's like, but at that time, they're not just seeing like me jump, they're seeing me like worship. Right. And it's changing something. And then anyway, the bar gets up to 202 and I jump 202. And then the girl that had won multiple world championships, she then jumps 204. And I remember it was third attempt at 204. It was so high. Like, that's my personal best now, like 5 years later. But at that time, it was so high. And I remember attempting it and the bar wobbled and fell off. And I was looking at it and I was just sort of gobsmacked. And I was thinking, I had created this like gold medal speech because I truly believe that God had given me the strength to believe that I could do it, to be there. And I had this whole speech and it was in my notebook, and I'd be jumping and I'd be looking at it going, this is what you're saying, like, you know, remind myself, and it would spur me on to keep going. Like 2.5 hours into this high pressure, humid, very, very intense, like battle into like 10:30 at night, you know, we're going for it, and it would still sustain me. And I got off the bags and I went, is a silver medal, even though it was amazing, is it enough to share this gold medal moment? Right. You know, like I didn't know what to think, but I went, you know what, if God was faithful enough to get me through this to here, He's worthy of me sharing it. Yes. And I actually had that moment then a major TV channel was doing it, and they said, like, Nicola, what do you want to share? And I could share every single thing that I had written down, and it went, and it was still getting aired live to television.
Yeah.
So they had like a 14-minute interview of like primetime TV where everybody had maybe like wanted to go to bed, but they got so invested in like, is she gonna get a gold or not? I can't go to sleep. So I had this platform to share my testimony with not just Australia, but people all over the world from what he did to me.
Amazing. So good. And I love the way that you do that every time. And again, we've got a little clip of it, because your boldness of sharing your faith and what's going on out there to the world is stunning. So we'll just show, it's about 1 minute. Thanks, Beck. 1 minute. This is after Glasgow, I think.
You know, I was jumping tonight and I realised in 2017 I came dead last. I didn't clear the starting height. And I've seen year by year just a gradual progression up. But when I came last, I remember standing out there and I had so much peace, because I knew that my performance didn't determine my identity and my value. So then coming in as number one, the pressure was off, because I knew if you can't lose anything when you come last, and you can't gain anything if you come first, so let's go out and do it. And so when the rain was pouring out there and I was waiting for hours between the attempts, it was a joy, because the light was inside of me, and I knew that if Jesus was enough for me when I was last, he's enough when I'm first. And every time that I was jumping, it was just worship. I was like, let's go. And so even if waiting and out there in the rain, I have such a joy, because I know, like,
There's more, but that gives you the vibe of your boldness in sharing to the world. So we're going to wrap up in a moment, Nicola. I love talking and love listening to you. And for those on the sunny coast, we'll be back again tonight. And we're going to tap onto some different parts of your story, which will be really great. But for those who are here today and they've come and they've heard, at this church there's an Olympic, champion going to share some of her story. You talk about surrendering your life to God and having a relationship with God. Lots of people have different ideas of what that looks like. Sometimes church has done a great job. Churches have done a great job of representing God, and other times not such a great job. Sometimes we've all met Christians, and maybe it's some of us on a bad day. People have met us on a bad day, and we haven't represented Jesus well. So I want you just to say, what does it mean to be a person who has faith in Jesus? What does it mean to have a relationship with him? And how does that, because, for people here, not all of us are going for the Olympics, but some people are going thinking that when I've got that job, I'll be happy. They've got the goal. When I marry that person, I'll be fulfilled. Or when I have this much money in the bank, or this type of house. That's like your goal was planned out, and we've got those sort of goals. And ultimately, that's going to leave us empty as well, unless we're living for something greater. So tell us a little bit about your story there.
I think when it comes to faith in Jesus, you have faith in something that is unfailing, right? I know what it is to live a life of faith that is shallow and a faith that is deep. In these 9 years, there has not been one season that I've experienced pain or suffering that has not ended up being for my good. And I had so much peace in it. And having a relationship with Jesus, for me, is the best decision I've ever made in my life, because every day I have a love that sustains me, that is bigger than me. Like, the love that I need in order to survive is deeper than a marriage could give. It's deeper than a family or a title or even a community. It needs to be personal. It needs to be a personal relationship that God can fill me with himself. And he takes out the parts of me, like he cuts off things that were causing damage that I thought were as important to me. And he replaces it with more of himself. And that's the reward. The reward in this life isn't the things that I'm gaining. It's actually I've gained it from him and knowing him deeper. And if I get to have that in an opportunity where I'm pushing myself and training every day, and I get to that point where it just hurts, but then I just get a picture of what he's done for me, and it makes that reward even deeper. Or even the pain or the things, the disappointments that have, that used to try and define my life, he actually cares for that, and I can come to him with every single thing that I have, and he takes all of that on himself and he replaces it with hope. He replaces it with love.
Amazing.
And he just fills more and more every day of himself inside of me. And it's given me purpose that I know will far exceed anything that I can do in my own strength.
So good. Magnificent. Hey, I'm so glad you have been with us today. I would love you just to pray for everybody here and just pray a blessing over us, over the guys in Melbourne, for those who haven't yet come to faith. Maybe today's going to be a moment of beginning that relationship with God, maybe it's just that people need to refocus from those shallow goals to a greater goal. Would you just pray for us?
Yeah, I would love to. Well, Lord Jesus, I thank you. I thank you from what you have done when you walked upon this earth, Lord, that is all that we actually need to live from, is what you've already achieved, to live a life of victory. I pray, Jesus, for each person here, online and in the room, that wherever they are at, whether they have big dreams and goals for their lives, whether they are a person that they are proud of or a person that they're ashamed of, whatever it is, God, I pray that you fill them with your love. I pray, Lord, that they would have strength today to give you their dreams and that you would replace them with your dreams for their lives. I pray, Lord, for a purpose that extends past a certain goal that they've set, a purpose that surpasses a certain person or thing that they're trying to build themselves to, and they would build their lives upon you. I pray, God, that you give them incredible hope, that you restore and redeem time that was lost. And I pray for true joy to fill their lives. Joy that isn't determined or measured by success, but joy that is given by heaven itself. I pray that your Holy Spirit is inside of them, bearing every good fruit, and that whatever it looks like, that you would give them a life that is definitely worth living in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Can you put your hands together? Thank you, Nicola. God bless you. Amazing. Melbourne, we're going to hand you back to the team there right now.